The coalition of allied species had watched Earth for 3 standard cycles. Their massive ship hovered above the clouds, scanning the blue planet below. Admiral Kraft stood on the command deck, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he studied the holographic displays. "Primitive, but they show promise," Kraft said, his scaled skin reflecting the blue light from Earth's image. "They managed to avoid destroying themselves despite their aggressive nature." Science Officer Vex moved to Kraft's side, her tentacle appendages typing rapidly on multiple interfaces. "Their technology is rudimentary at best," she remarked. "They still rely on combustion engines and have barely reached their own moon. Their energy production is inefficient, and their weapons systems are centuries behind ours." Kraft nodded. "Perfect candidates for protection and guidance. Prepare the landing party." The coalition delegation selected Seoul as their landing site after determining it represented an advanced human technological center without being politically dominant. Their ship descended through the clouds, its cloaking field disengaging as it entered the lower atmosphere. Tae-ho Kim stood on the observation platform of the newly constructed extraterrestrial reception center. At 42, he had spent most of his career in intelligence before being selected to head Earth's extraterrestrial relations division. He watched the alien ship materialize through the morning fog with practiced calm, though his heart raced. Humanity had prepared for this moment since the first detection of the coalition fleet entering the solar system 3 months ago. "Remember," he told his assembled team of diplomats, scientists, and military personnel, "reveal only what's in the briefing documents." Jae-young Park stood at his right hand. At 38, she had been South Korea's youngest ever national security advisor before joining Tae-ho's division. Her expression remained neutral, but her eyes tracked every movement of the descending craft. "They already underestimate us," she murmured. "Let's keep it that way." The ship settled onto the landing pad, its hull shimmering with colors humans had no words for. A seam appeared in its side, widening into a doorway. The coalition representatives emerged, 7 beings of varied forms that matched none of Earth's life. Admiral Kraft led the delegation, his tall form draped in ceremonial armor that displayed his rank and achievements. Science Officer Vex followed, along with representatives from the coalition's diplomatic, military, and scientific branches. Tae-ho stepped forward and bowed slightly. "On behalf of Earth, welcome. We are honored by your presence." The translation device at Kraft's throat hummed. "The coalition extends protection to promising species. We have deemed your world worthy of our attention." The formal reception proceeded according to the carefully choreographed plan. The aliens were escorted to the diplomatic chambers where representatives from major Earth nations waited. Cameras broadcast the historic meeting worldwide, though with a 30-second delay allowing sensors to cut transmission if needed. During the 3rd hour of talks, the coalition ambassador presented their gifts: data crystals containing what they described as basic technological improvements to help humanity advance. "This power generation system will help you move beyond your primitive burning of fossil fuels," Science Officer Vex explained, displaying a hologram of a reactor design. "It produces clean energy using principles your scientists will find challenging but not incomprehensible." Tae-ho accepted the gift with a deep bow. "Your generosity overwhelms us. This technology will take our scientists years to understand." Behind him, Jae-young maintained her neutral expression, though she had instantly recognized the design. South Korea's Advanced Energy Research Division had developed a similar system 5 years earlier, currently powering a classified military installation beneath Jeju Island. The coalition's gift was actually less efficient than Earth's version. During the tour of the facility, Admiral Kraft paused at a window overlooking Seoul's skyline. "Your species has achieved much despite your limitations," he remarked. "How long have you had electricity?" "Just over 150 years, Tae-ho replied truthfully. Kraft's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. "So rapid? Interesting. Most species take several millennia to progress from basic tools to spaceflight." "We are eager learners," Tae-ho said modestly. That evening, after the Coalition delegation returned to their ship, Taiho met with Earth's Unified Response Team in the secure underground levels. "They believe exactly what we wanted them to believe," he reported. "They see us as primitives barely out of our technological infancy." Jai-Yum displayed the Coalition's gift on the large screen. "Their power system is at least 20 years behind our current technology. Either they're deliberately giving us outdated designs, or they've underestimated us more severely than we thought." Soo-Bin Choi, South Korea's leading quantum physicist, studied the designs. "There are principles here that confirm some of our theoretical work, but nothing revolutionary. However, their material science is interesting. The containment chamber uses alloys we haven't synthesized yet. So we give them exactly what they expect," Taiho concluded. "Wide-eyed gratitude, careful questions showing our limited understanding, and appropriate awe at their technological superiority." Meanwhile, Jai-Young added, "Our analysis teams continue reverse engineering everything we can from their ship's emissions, communications, and visible technology." As the meeting ended, Taiho returned to his office overlooking the alien vessel. Its lights pulsed softly in the night. He wondered what the Coalition would think if they knew humanity had already detected and translated their communications years before their arrival, or that the primitive humans had already developed technologies the Coalition hadn't yet mastered. Underestimation, he murmured to himself, is humanity's greatest advantage. He pressed his palm against the hidden scanner in his desk, opening a secure channel to the orbital defense platforms that remained invisible to Coalition sensors. For now, they would remain powered down, a hidden card in humanity's carefully held hand. 2 weeks after first contact, the Coalition military vessel Dominant Force arrived in Earth orbit. Unlike the diplomatic ship, this one bristled with visible weapon emplacements and scanning arrays. Its commander, Fleet Marshal Draz, transported down to Seoul with an escort of 8 armored soldiers. Draz stood nearly 3 meters tall, with chitinous plating covering his torso and 4 muscular arms. His species evolved on a high-gravity world, giving him tremendous strength and a naturally intimidating presence. "These humans are hardly worth our effort," Draz announced at the first military briefing, not bothering to lower his voice even with humans present. "But a friendly competition will establish proper hierarchy and help us understand their capabilities." A translator rendered his words perfectly, including the dismissive tone. Taiho, seated across the table, maintained his diplomatic smile. "We would be honored to participate in knowledge-sharing exercises," he replied. Draz's mouthparts clicked in what the humans now recognized as amusement. "Knowledge-sharing. Yes, 3 challenges then: engineering, tactical warfare, and environmental adaptation. Simple tasks that any spacefaring species should handle easily." Behind Taiho, Zhe-Young made notes on her tablet. Her face revealed nothing, but her fingers tapped with slightly more force than necessary. "We accept," Taiho said with a respectful bow. "Please provide the parameters, and we will assemble our teams." After the Coalition representatives departed, Taiho's calm facade dropped. "They're testing us. They want to see if we're worth conquering or simply controlling. The engineering challenge is to build an atmospheric processor," Jai-Yum reported. "The combat simulation involves defending against a multi-vector assault, and the environmental test requires working in extreme conditions." "Perfect," Taiho said. "They've chosen exactly the areas where we've made our greatest classified advances." That evening, Jai-Young visited an unremarkable apartment building in eastern Seoul. The man who answered the door looked ordinary in every way. Average height, slight build, wireframe glasses perched on his nose. Jun Seo Lee could have been any mid-level engineer at any Korean tech company. "The government needs your help," Jai-Young told him, showing her credentials. Jun Seo invited her in. His apartment was spare but functional, with technical manuals stacked neatly on every surface. He listened as she explained the Coalition's challenge. "An atmospheric processor. Interesting. I've been working on something similar." He led her to what appeared to be a storage closet, but opened to reveal a small elevator. They descended to a fully equipped laboratory beneath the building. "My hobby," he explained with a slight smile. "The government knows about it, of course. They fund some of my research." Jun-seo gave a slight bow and signaled his team. They moved with practiced coordination, assembling the framework using hand tools rather than the automated systems they normally employed. Coalition observers exchanged amused glances. "Such primitive methods," one remarked loud enough to be heard. "They're building it like a house." 3 hours into the construction, Jun-seo called for the core assembly. This was the most complex component, a series of molecular filters that would extract specific elements from the air. According to the Coalition timeline, this stage should take at least 6 hours. Jun-seo's team completed it in 2. "They've made an error," a Coalition engineer said confidently. "It can't possibly function correctly." But when the power was applied, the core hummed to life. The reading showed 98% efficiency. Not perfect, but far better than the expected 75% for primitive humans. "It's using principles we don't recognize," whispered one Coalition engineer to another, studying his scanner with growing confusion. "The filtration cycle has been modified." Jun-seo pretended not to notice their confusion. He had deliberately used an old Earth technology, one developed decades ago, but classified by the military, knowing it would appear novel to the aliens. The design was actually inefficient by current human standards, but the Coalition didn't need to know that. By the end of the day, the atmospheric processor stood complete, 4 hours ahead of schedule. Marshal Draz inspected it personally, his 4 arms folded across his armored chest. "Acceptable," he announced, though his eye membranes flickered rapidly. A sign of agitation. The humans had learned. "Perhaps you had assistance in preparing." "No, Marshal," Jun-seo replied with perfect humility. "We simply applied the principles your people so generously shared with us." The next morning brought the tactical challenge. Hyun Woo-kang led his team into the simulation chamber, a dome-shaped room filled with neural interface pods. The Coalition provided special suits that would translate human movements into the virtual environment. "The scenario is planetary defense," explained the Coalition battlemaster. "Your force must protect 3 resource points from incoming attackers. You are outnumbered 3-1. Hyun-woo nodded calmly. "We understand." Once inside the simulation, Hyun-woo quickly assessed the battle space. The virtual landscape represented an Earth-like planet with mountains, forests, and plains. The 3 resource points formed a triangle across the terrain. Standard military doctrine would place defensive forces at each point. Instead, Hyun-woo positioned his entire force at a single point, leaving the others seemingly undefended. "What is he doing?" Draz demanded from the observation room. In the virtual world, enemy forces approached all 3 points simultaneously. Finding 2 undefended, they quickly captured them. As they celebrated their easy victory, Hyun-woo sprung his trap. His forces, hidden in the surrounding terrain, attacked not the enemy positions but their supply lines. Within minutes, the simulation showed the enemy forces cut off and isolated. "Their approach is illogical but effective," noted the Coalition commander with grudging respect. "They sacrifice territory to gain tactical advantage." Hyun-woo's team continued with seemingly chaotic maneuvers, splitting forces when conventional wisdom demanded concentration, attacking from unexpected angles, and sacrificing positions only to recapture them from behind. When the simulation ended, the humans had recaptured all 3 resource points with minimal casualties. "Your tactics are unusual," Draz told Hyun-woo afterward. The old sergeant bowed slightly. "We make do with what we have, Marshal." The final challenge began that afternoon. Min Ji-cho and her research team entered the environmental testing chamber, a sealed room where conditions could be precisely controlled. "You will solve these equations while we gradually alter the environment," the Coalition science officer explained. Your performance will be measured against standard baselines for your species. Min-ji nodded politely. We are ready. The test began with simple calculus problems. As the humans worked, the room temperature slowly dropped. When it reached near freezing, Min-ji simply zipped up her jacket and continued working. Her calculations remained precise. Next, the chamber pressure increased, simulating deep ocean conditions. Several team members experienced discomfort, but Min-ji showed no reaction. Subject shows remarkable adaptation, noted one coalition observer. The final phase reduced oxygen levels while increasing radiation exposure within safe limits. At 15% oxygen, a level where most humans would experience severe cognitive impairment, Min-ji continued solving complex equations without hesitation. How is she still conscious? Demanded a coalition medic, checking his readings. Her oxygen saturation should be causing significant mental deterioration. When the oxygen level reached 12%, the test was stopped for safety reasons. Min-ji emerged from the chamber looking slightly tired but otherwise unaffected. Later, when Tae-ho questioned her remarkable performance, Min-ji shrugged modestly. Mountaineering hobby, she explained simply. What she didn't mention was her years as a high-altitude climber with multiple summits of Everest without supplemental oxygen, or her participation in classified military training for low-oxygen environments. That evening, the coalition leadership met to discuss the unexpected results. Their original assessment of humanity was being challenged. They performed beyond projected capabilities in all three tests. Science Officer Vex reported, either our initial analysis was flawed, or they have been concealing their true technological level. Marshal Draz paced the conference room. Perhaps they are not as primitive as we thought, but they remain far behind us technologically. Admiral Krath, who had observed all three challenges, remained silent for a long moment. There is something else at work here, he finally said. I believe they deliberately underperformed. The question is, how much are they hiding? Meanwhile, in the secure conference room beneath the reception center, Tae-ho debriefed his team leaders. You all performed excellently, he told them. Just competent enough to earn respect, not advanced enough to trigger suspicion. They're reassessing us, Jae-young reported. Our monitoring systems detected increased scanning activity from their ships. Tae-ho nodded. Good. Let them wonder. The longer they underestimate us, the more time we have to understand their true intentions. As the meeting concluded, Jun-seo approached Tae-ho. They were particularly interested in the atmospheric processor's filtration system. Did they discover anything concerning? Jun-seo smiled slightly. No. The design I used is 30 years old. Wait until they see what we're really capable of. 3 months after the challenges, the coalition established a joint research facility in Antarctica. The location was chosen for its isolation and the extreme conditions, which the coalition believed would limit human involvement. A team of 20 coalition scientists worked alongside 15 carefully selected human researchers, studying Earth's unique biosphere. Admiral Krath had personally approved the facility as a gesture of goodwill, though his true motive was to observe human scientists in their natural environment. The coalition maintained security with their own advanced systems, allowing humans to observe but not access the alien technology. Tae-ho visited the facility monthly, ostensibly for diplomatic purposes. In reality, he was monitoring the coalition's activities through hidden sensors installed during construction. Jae-young accompanied him on these visits, maintaining their carefully crafted image as eager but technologically limited allies. The Antarctic winter had settled in, with howling winds and temperatures dropping below -40 degrees. Inside the facility, humans and aliens worked in separate but connected labs, sharing data through controlled interfaces. Min-ji Cho led the human research team, her remarkable performance in the environmental challenge having earned her the position. She maintained a friendly but professional relationship with her coalition counterparts, carefully hiding her true expertise. The attack came without warning. Alarms blared throughout the facility as unknown ships appeared on the horizon. They were neither human nor coalition design, sleek black crafts with organic curves that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Defensive protocols engaged, announced the coalition security system. Weapon emplacements emerged from the facility's outer walls, firing energy beams at the approaching ships. In the command center, Admiral Kraft took control. Unknown hostiles, not in our database. The attackers responded with devastating firepower. 3 coalition defense turrets exploded in rapid succession. The facility shook with each impact. "Our shields are failing," reported a coalition officer. "Unknown weapon signature. It's penetrating our defensive matrix." Taiho stood calmly beside Jiayang, watching as the aliens struggled to defend against this unexpected threat. The coalition had assured Earth that no other species would dare attack with their protection. Now that protection was proving inadequate. "Should we evacuate the human personnel?" Krath asked, a note of concern in his voice. Taiho shook his head. "That won't be necessary." He exchanged a glance with Jiayang, who nodded slightly. He removed a small device from his pocket, a simple black cylinder with a single button. "Admiral, with your permission, we'd like to assist in the defense," Taiho said formally. Kraft's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. "Your assistance is appreciated, but I fail to see how." Taiho pressed the button. "Activate Perseus Protocol." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ice around the facility began to move. What the coalition had assumed were natural ice formations cracked open, revealing sleek weapon systems of unmistakably human design. They were unlike anything humans had previously displayed, not the clumsy missiles and projectile weapons the coalition had observed, but advanced energy weapons and defensive shields. "What is this?" demanded Admiral Krath as the hidden systems powered up. "Insurance," replied Jiayang calmly. "We've survived our own brutality for millennia. Did you think we wouldn't prepare for worse from the stars?" The human weapons engaged with precise coordination. Beams of concentrated energy cut through the attacking ships with surgical precision. Defense shields deflected return fire that had easily penetrated coalition protections. In less than 5 minutes, the attack was over. The unknown ships either destroyed or retreating into the upper atmosphere. The command center fell silent as coalition officers stared at the displays showing the human weapon systems now visible around the facility. "You concealed this technology," Krath said finally. His voice was carefully controlled, but his body language showed his shock. Min Jicho entered the command center, no longer the humble researcher but clearly a military officer. She wore the same civilian clothes but carried herself differently. "All human personnel accounted for," she reported to Taiho. "Defense systems functioning at optimal levels. We've tracked the retreating vessels to the outer solar system." Taiho nodded. "Thank you, Colonel." "Colonel," Krath repeated. "She's military." "Most of us are," Taiho admitted. "Or were. Earth has maintained a unified defense strategy since we first detected your approach 3 years ago." 3 years, but we only revealed ourselves 6 months ago. "Your cloaking technology is impressive, but not perfect," Jiayang explained. "Our deep space arrays detected anomalies in Jupiter's orbit. After that, it was simply a matter of looking in the right place with the right instruments." Krath's posture changed, becoming more formal. "You've been studying us." "Of course," said Taiho. "Wouldn't you?" In the following hours, as the facility was secured and reinforced, Taiho's team revealed more of Earth's true capabilities. They had already duplicated and improved upon most coalition technology, using principles that sometimes differed significantly from alien approaches. "Your power systems rely on particle acceleration," Jun Seo explained to the stunned coalition engineers. "Efficient but vulnerable to certain types of interference. We developed alternative approaches based on quantum field manipulation." The coalition weapons experts examined the human defense systems with professional curiosity now mixed with respect. "These targeting systems are unlike anything in our arsenal," admitted one officer. "The precision is remarkable." "Necessity," explained Hyun Woo Kang, who had arrived with a security team. "When you can't match an enemy's raw power, you develop better aim." Admiral Krath requested a private meeting with Taiho after the immediate crisis had passed. In a small conference room, with only Jae-young present, the alien leader spoke with new formality. "Why the deception?" he asked. "If you possessed such technology, why present yourselves as primitive?" Taiho considered his answer carefully. "History, both yours and ours. Every first contact in your records resulted in the same outcome. The less advanced species became subservient or was eliminated. We couldn't risk that fate. You could have simply demonstrated your strength from the beginning. And if your forces had been 10 times stronger? No. Better to observe, learn, and reveal our capabilities only when necessary." Krath was silent for a long moment. "The Coalition Council will need to reassess Earth's status," he said finally. "This changes our relationship significantly." "Yes," agreed Taiho. "It does." As they prepared to return to Seoul, Jae-young accessed the secure satellite feed showing the unknown ships retreating past Mars. "Do you think they'll be back?" she asked Taiho privately. "Eventually. But next time, we'll be ready. And perhaps," he added, glancing at Admiral Krath, "we'll have allies rather than protectors." The Grand Council chamber of the Coalition flagship, Eternal Wisdom, hummed with tension. Representatives from 17 species sat in concentric rings, their diverse physiologies accommodated by specialized seating. At the center stood Admiral Krath, his posture formal as he addressed the assembled leaders. "Honored Council, I must report that our assessment of humanity requires immediate revision," Krath stated. His voice remained steady, but the slight fluttering of his neck membranes betrayed his discomfort. The High Counselor, a luminescent being suspended in a gravity field, moved forward slightly. "Explain." "They've been concealing their true capabilities," reported Admiral Krath. "What we've seen is their baseline, not their best." The chamber erupted in overlapping vocalizations as representatives demanded details. Krath activated a holographic display showing the Antarctic incident. The Council watched in silence as human weapons easily destroyed attackers that had penetrated Coalition defenses. "The weapons they revealed were generations beyond what they showed us," Krath continued. "And based on our subsequent investigations, these may still represent only a fraction of their actual technology." Science Officer Vex stepped forward. "Our analysis confirms that humans have been systematically studying our technology while revealing only outdated versions of their own. They detected our presence years before we officially revealed ourselves and prepared accordingly." "Are they a threat?" asked the military director, a heavily armored being from a warrior culture. Krath considered his answer carefully. "They could be. But I believe they are potential allies of extraordinary value. Their approach to technology follows different paths than ours. In some areas, they lag centuries behind us. In others," he paused, "in others, they have advanced in directions we never explored." The Council deliberated for 3 full cycles. Voices called for caution, for withdrawal, for shows of force. In the end, pragmatism prevailed. "We will draft a new treaty," the High Counselor announced, "one that recognizes humans as equals rather than protectorates. We cannot afford to alienate a species with such potential." On Earth, Taiho received the news with careful optimism. "They're adapting quickly," he told the Emergency Response Committee, "faster than we expected." "Is that good or bad?" asked the representative from Africa. "Good," Jae-young replied. "It means they're rational, practical. They recognize changing circumstances and adjust their approach accordingly." The signing ceremony took place 1 month later at the neutral location of the International Space Station. The Coalition had requested Earth orbit rather than their flagship, a significant concession recognizing human sovereignty. Taiho and Ji-young represented humanity, while Admiral Kraft led the coalition delegation. The treaty established formal diplomatic relations, technology exchange protocols, and mutual defense agreements. Most importantly, it recognized Earth as a full and equal member of the galactic community, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. "This marks a new chapter in both our histories," Kraft said as the document was finalized. Tai-Ho bowed slightly. "We look forward to learning from each other." After the ceremony, the Earth representatives toured the expanded sections of the space station, where joint research was already underway. They found Minji in the Advanced Propulsion Laboratory, working alongside Coalition scientists on what appeared to be an engine design. The Coalition engineers excused themselves respectfully when Tai-Ho entered, another subtle sign of the changed relationship. "Progress?" Tai-Ho asked once they were alone. "Excellent," Minji replied, manipulating a holographic diagram with practiced ease. "They're brilliant in their own way. Different approaches, different assumptions." "Are you showing them everything?" asked Tai-Ho. Minji glanced at her alien colleagues through the lab's transparent wall, offering a small smile. "Just Phase 1 technologies. The quantum displacement engine is still classified." Tai-Ho nodded with approval. The quantum displacement technology, allowing instantaneous repositioning without traversing the space between, remained humanity's most closely guarded secret. Developed theoretically a decade earlier, it had been successfully tested only months before the Coalition's arrival. "And their technology?" Jai Young asked. "Fascinating," Minji admitted. "Their approach to space-time is fundamentally different from ours. Less elegant in some ways, more practical in others. We're learning a great deal." They left Minji to her work and moved to the observation deck. Earth rotated peacefully below them, while Coalition ships maintained their orbits at respectful distances. "The Council has invited Earth to send a permanent ambassador," Jai Young informed Tai-Ho as they watched a Coalition cruiser pass below them. "They're offering access to their central databases. With restrictions, I assume." "Of course. The same restrictions we've placed on our own information sharing." Tai-Ho smiled slightly, a careful dance of gradual revelation. It could take centuries to develop true trust. "And the unknown attackers?" Jo Young asked, her expression growing serious. "The Coalition still claims no knowledge of them." "I believe them," Tai-Ho replied. Their reaction was genuine. "Whoever, or whatever, attacked us is unknown to both our civilizations." "Which means we need the Coalition as much as they need us." "Exactly. Mutual necessity is a stronger foundation than sentiment." As they prepared to return to Earth, Jai Young paused at the airlock. "When will we reveal our actual capabilities? The full extent of what we can do?" Tai-Ho looked out at the Coalition ships orbiting Earth, their elegant designs reflecting sunlight as they passed into dawn. His expression remained thoughtful. "When we need to," he said finally. "For now, let's keep some surprises in reserve." A message came through on his secure communicator, an update from the Deep Space Monitoring Station on Luna. The unknown ships had been detected near Saturn, seemingly dormant but definitely present. "We have time," he added, closing the message. "The Coalition has proven reasonable, and the new threat appears to be observing rather than attacking." "And if either situation changes?" Jai Young asked. "Then humanity will do what it has always done. Adapt. Innovate. Survive." Tai-Ho allowed himself a rare, genuine smile. "After all, we're just getting started." As their shuttle departed the space station, Earth's newest satellite came into view, the framework of humanity's first true interstellar vessel. Built with a combination of human and Coalition technology, it represented the visible symbol of cooperation. What remained invisible was the second ship, constructed in the hidden shipyards beneath the Pacific Ocean, incorporating technologies neither revealed nor discussed with their new allies.